Well, hey there, guys. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Open Mic, where the mic is open, the floor is yours. What do you guys want to talk about here today? That is what we are here to discuss. My name, of course, is John Campea. Joined in studio, got Ray Orr over there. Got Jonathan Voico here.
Hello.
And you guys are here. And there are two different ways you can get a topic or question for us to address here on Open Mic. The first way is if you're watching or listening to the show any of the 23 hours of the day that we're not doing it live, you can simply send it in using our tip link at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Or if you are watching live right now, and hello to everybody who is watching live, you can use the super chat feature and send it in that way. And if your topic or question is appropriate to be used on our show, we will address it here. All right, listen, before we get into the questions, got to talk about this. Barbie, my God, became the official #1 opening box office weekend of the year, making $162 million on its opening weekend. I mean, I said Barbie was going to be a hit, but I had no idea it was going to be that big. Like, I never would have believed it. Never would have believed it. And then it followed that up. You think, okay, maybe just a fluke. Everybody saw it on the opening weekend. Then it set the record for the biggest Monday box office performance in the history of Warner Brothers, beating out the previous record holder, The Dark Knight. Well, then you might think, well, now surely it's going to run out of gas. Nope. Because Tuesday, and again, take a look at this. Tuesday, it once again set a brand new record for the biggest box office ever on a Tuesday for a Warner Brothers film, beating out the Christmas Day Tuesday performance of Jason Momoa's Aquaman. This comes to us from Deadline. Barbie is beautiful again with a record $26 million Tuesday, which is bigger than most movies get on their opening weekend. For Warner Brothers, Oppenheimer also booms past 100 million. So the article says this. It says, after Warner Brothers saw a record Monday at the domestic box office with 26.1 million, they made another 26 million. So basically no drop off at all between Monday and Tuesday. They made another 26 million again, giving them a record Tuesday. Barbie crosses the $200 million domestic mark in just 5 days, now at $214.1 million domestically alone. The movie beat Warner Brothers' Tuesday's highs of Aquaman, Christmas Day in 2018, take of $21.98 million, and The Dark Knight's haul on Tuesday, July the 22nd, 2008, of $20.8 million. Guys, it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. Now, I still don't think Barbie will break $1 billion. But I'm not willing to put $100 on that.
You should.
I mean, I'll tell you why I'm not convinced it's going to make $1 billion. Okay, it's obviously huge hit, but I don't think it's going to have the international legs that say something like a Mario Brothers did, right? Mario Brothers sitting at $1.3 billion this year. It's going to be the #1 box office film of the year. But I mean, this is absolutely outstanding. Want to get a bit of a grip of how outstanding this is? Take a look at this. At the end of its official fifth day at the box office, Barbie has now amassed almost $500 million, $472 billion in 5 days. I put a little post up about this, but to put that into perspective a little bit, in just 5 days, Barbie has made more money than Flash and Shazam 2 combined in their entire theatrical runs.
And it definitely beat out Black Adam.
And it definitely surpassed Black Adam in 5 days. But still, I want you to think about that. Flash, Shazam 2, total theatrical run, combined, Barbie made more than that in just 5 days. Now, let's give it a little bit even more context. In just 5 days, Barbie has become the #7 worldwide box office film of 2023. In 5 days. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1 is sitting at $376 million. John Wick Chapter 4 at number 9 at $426 million. Transformers Rise of the Beast at number 8 at $427 million. Barbie, in just 5 days, $472 million, about to pass the number 6 spot, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania at $476. And in just a few days, it'll pass Little Mermaid as the number 5 biggest film of the year. That's sitting at 560. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is 676. Fast X at number 3 at 704 million. Guardians of the Galaxy at 844, and then a very big leap up from the number 2 spot to the number 1 spot there with Super Mario Brothers at $1.349 billion, the number 3 all-time animated film at the box office. But again, get back down to this. In 5 days, just 5 days, Barbie has hit the number 7 spot. And I listen, I have, fully admit, I have continued to underestimate this movie. At least its ability to perform, right? Because I thought it could make 100 million opening weekend. Huge. I never would have believed 162. And then I thought that's great. And it'll have some legs because it's a quality movie. But I never would have guessed it would be like Dark Knight's all-time Monday record. I never would have believed it would take no drop, basically, from Monday to Tuesday and make another $26 million. I don't expect it to make another $26 million on Wednesday. Want to know why, Ray? Want to know why? 2 words, my friend. Haunted Mansion.
No.
It's
probably make more on Wednesday.
Just to spite it.
You know what? Just like how Oppenheimer made $5 million because people went to go see Barbie and it was sold out and it sold $5 more million tickets. What's going to happen now for Barbie is that a bunch of people are going to go to see Haunted Mansion, get there and think, am I really making the right decision? And then they're going to go see Barbie instead.
Look, I don't think we've ever had a live action Barbie movie in the past, right?
No.
This has to be the first.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, sure.
This toy went through generations and generations. So like we're seeing them come out to the theaters right now. Like, and if it's sold out, they're going to go the next day. If it's sold out that day, they're going the next day. Everyone's going to see this movie once, I think. Like everyone who wants to see it and more. Grandmas, grandpas, you know.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I am not sure anymore about what its second weekend is going to be like. Because when you get movies that open really big opening weekend, right? Like you want to see a movie take a 50 to 60% drop. That's a good range. Anything more than 60, you get worried. Anything less than 50 and you're popping bottles. But when a movie opens really huge, you expect a higher percentage drop off the second weekend because everybody's seen it. Spider-Man No Way Home had a nearly 70% drop. That was just because its opening weekend was so ridiculously large, right? So I think I said, guys, Barbie's going to take like a 60, 65% drop second weekend. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I really don't know anymore.
It all depends if it's a one and done for most people, I think.
Well, clearly it hasn't been. People went to go see it on the weekend, and then they went to go see it again on Monday, and then some people went back to go see it again on Tuesday.
I was thinking that more people just ran into the sold out thing, that they wanted better seats or something, and then they saw it Monday, you know?
Maybe. But again, like when you think about the century-old studio of Warner Brothers and the pantheon of the great all-time films under the Warner Brothers label, no movie has ever made as much money on a Monday as Barbie did. No movie has ever made as much money on a Tuesday as Barbie did. It's just, that's more than just, well, people couldn't get the season. Like that's probably true, but it's more than that. You know what I mean? Like to see these types of numbers. So I was very confident saying that Barbie would take an over 60% drop on that second weekend. I am not so confident about that anymore.
And it's one of those movies when we went, there was nobody walking in by themselves to watch this movie. They had groups of 4s, groups of 3s, groups of 7s. It's like it's a real event.
It's an event film, right?
And it's a summer too. A lot of people are on vacation.
Maybe just people want to get out of the heat, go to the air-conditioned movie theaters. I don't know.
Get all pink.
Everybody's looking for their excuse. You know, I've had this damn pink suit jacket in my closet and I haven't had the right opportunity to wear it.
I was never afraid to wear pink. I was one of those guys. If I had a pink shirt that was nice, I'd wear it. What about you?
Hey, man, I was watching ESPN last night and Lionel Messi was wearing pink for his Miami starting debut.
Wearing pink ain't that bad.
That's right. Wearing pink ain't that bad. The world has gone pink, my friend. You know what? If it's good enough for Bret the Hitman Hart, it's good enough for you.
My very first pink shirt was a Ralph Lauren polo shirt.
Really?
It was pink and then like white stripes right there. And then I got into the Dragon Ball Z pink, like Majin Buu. So.
I'll tell you the truth. When I was younger, like I was in like grade 9 or something, I had this, we'll call it a pink sweater. I really liked the sweater. And when people say to me, "You're wearing a pink sweater," I would get angry. And I'd say, "No, it's salmon. It's not pink. It's salmon." No, it was pink. I look back at it. It was a totally pink sweater.
You need to rewind and say, yeah, it's pink.
Yeah, that's right. It's pink. I'll go back in time. I own that. Anyway, guys, the numbers are spectacular. The numbers are ridiculous of what what Barbie is pulling out of its hat here. And again, I thought it was going to take a big second weekend drop just because of how big the opening weekend was, but I am not so sure about that anymore. All right, guys. With that down, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? We asked you guys to send in questions and send in questions you have. So let's get to it. We're going to start off with the tip questions. Jonathan, what do we got?
All right. Listen up, everybody. Cody Hunt Films writes, Nolan is absolutely going to make a Bond film. Now is the time. MGM would be dumb not to bring him aboard. And his Bond is going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson. They've already worked together. He's the right age. He's British. Mark my words. It's a perfect fit. Well, he knows it all.
Listen,
Cody knows.
It wasn't a question there, man.
Cody knows.
But I'm going to tell you what. Don't count on it. Does Christopher Nolan want to do it? Yes. Would MGM be dumb not to let him do it? Hold on to your horses here. Like, there's a bigger picture to look at. Like, because you could have said the same thing about Tenet. They'd be stupid not to let him make Tenet. Well, look, James Bond is a multi-generational character, right? And listen, if Christopher Nolan, here's what I predict. If Christopher Nolan were to commit to MGM and the Broccoli's, that he would come on and be on for James Bond for 10 years. Minimum 3 movies, maybe even 4. If he were to do that, MGM and the Broccoli family would say, yup, let's go. Let's go. That's what they would say. But
Who said that?
It's humans got to go.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the problem. Christopher Nolan, and he has every right to ask for this, wants casting power, full script creative power, and full editorial power. He said that in his public statement. He says, yeah, I'd love to do a Bond, but I have to be 100% in charge. If he's only willing to commit to one movie, if you're look, I'll go so far as to say this. If you're MGM and the Broccoli's, you'd be an idiot to say yes to that. You'd be completely stupid to say yes to that. You can't give a guy the choice, the person who's going to choose the new Bond for their movie, have complete control, and then they're going to bail. And then you're left with whatever their choices were. So whereas you say MGM would be dumb not to do it, I'm telling you, it would be fanatically insane for them to say yes to that.
Here's a question.
Unless Christopher Nolan said, I will commit to a minimum 3 films or a minimum 9 years or whatever. If Christopher Nolan were to do that, then I think if you're the Broccoli's and MGM, you go for it.
Have there been a single director for multiple Bond films, like in a row? Like, has there in history? Let me look.
Oh, just singular? Yeah. I mean, the older films, you know.
I mean,
because they didn't follow a strict, you know, they had Spectre, but one didn't follow the next per se. Like, you could watch them individually, even though there was like a loose tying of the different films, you know, the original ones.
I mean, but as a director, has there been a single director?
I don't remember what directors did, but
I thought Sam Mendes directed multiple ones because I know he did 1917, but did he not do another?
I don't remember.
Did he just do the one? He might have just done the one. For some reason, I had in my head that Sam Mendes directed multiple James Bond films, but I guess not.
So my argument,
John Glenn.
Okay. So my argument with that is, if they've never had that before, maybe they'll be fine with one and done. Christopher Nolan. I don't know. I've never seen a Bond film before.
No, one and done is fine, but not if you're the one casting Bond.
Oh yeah,
and
they'll
you
never
have
give
all
him
the
that.
control over
give
what
him that
direction
power.
you're taking the James Bond narrative.
No.
Like, if you're going to do that, if you're going to give that, because they've never given that kind of power to any director. If they're going to give him that kind of power, you only do it if they commit to stay on board long. Like, you want to make the decisions that's going to affect us long term, then you got to commit to stay on long term. And if Christopher Nolan does that, I think they'll do it. And I think they should do it. I just don't know that Christopher Nolan would be interested in doing that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Cody Hunt Films writes, this past weekend has people buzzing. I went to the dentist yesterday, and all people were talking about was Barbenheimer. People of all ages. It's a cultural phenomenon. I've already seen Barbie twice now and seeing Haunted Mansion tomorrow and TMNT Saturday.
Yeah, TMNT Saturday too.
Yeah, we're going to go see TMNT on Saturday as well.
Some people are seeing it tonight.
Yeah, there are a couple people seeing out the Paramount lot tonight.
Yeah.
We got people at Paramount who watch this show. Why were we not invited to the TMNT thing at... Well, I would have said no anyway because we always say no.
Because
we
I
don't
wanna
accept
see
press
it.
invites anymore.
I want to
But
see it with my family too.
yeah, we're going to see it all together as a family on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not even looking forward to the movie, but I'm looking forward to going to see TMNT with my family.
Crazy.
What was the question? Oh yeah, Barbenheimer. It's like, again, it's insane. I think they're going to, in film school, they're going to teach classes in their marketing classes about how Barbenheimer happened. Again, and you know what? With all the smash success of Barbie, let's not lose sight of the fact that Oppenheimer is doing quite well. Doing real well. Like, it blew past its box office expectations. So there we go.
But Barbenheimer reminds me of like the old TikTok challenges. It almost became like a challenge for people to see both movies in one day. That's
True.
It
Yeah, it
became
kind of very organically became a thing.
Yeah, like viral and trendy, like
Yep.
all at the same time. So
All right, what's next?
Garden Variety Vagabond writes, John, can't you or even all of you write off your streaming costs as business expenses? Is there a specific reason that you can't? Well, I can't because I'm an employee.
So here's the thing. People misunderstand what writing off as a business expense means. People think that if you have something that's a business expense and you write it off, then it's free. That's not how it works. So I'm going to oversimplify this. And Jonathan, you're better at the economics than I am. So correct me where you need to correct me to make this more clear.
I'll correct both of you.
Okay. All right. So let's say my business makes $100 a year. Okay. I'm going to get taxed based on that $100 a year. Now, let's say for business purposes, I bought Spoiler Pig. Okay. I get to claim that as a $10 expense, right? So now my taxable income goes from $100 to $90, but it's not like I saved. He cost $10. Therefore I saved $10 in taxes. That's not how it works. I save roughly the equivalent of the proportional percentage of taxes that I pay to the percentage of whatever the dollar value of that is.
Yeah, it's not a tax credit, whereas you're taking that exact dollar amount just off of.
So let's, for argument's sake, say that I got charged, I paid 25% taxes. All right. Well, if I paid $10 for Spider Pig, that doesn't save me $10 because Spider Pig was a $10 expense. It actually saves me 25% of that. It roughly saves me about $2.50. So yes, my streaming services, I do list as business expenses. I do. And that helps me with my taxes, but it's not like, well, that's like getting them for free. Nope. I still have to pay for all of it. And I do get a little bit of that in return on my tax return, but it is not proportional to what the expense is. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, I probably made it more complicated than it needed to be. All right. What's next?
Garden Variety Vagabond. Oh, no, we just did that one. But Garden Variety is back. Talking about award show song and dance. Everyone should look up Neil Patrick Harris doing the Tonys. The audience literally had looks of awe on their faces. He even did professional live magic in it. Must see.
Yeah, I'm not a Tonys guy, but I've always heard he did a very good job with the Tonys.
Better than the... but, you know, I can't really blame him 100% for the Academy Awards because that was written. It's not like he just came up with the entire Academy Awards.
Wait, did he host the Oscars?
He hosted one year.
Yeah, he did.
Neil
wasn't
Patrick Harris?
great.
How
It was
do
a
I
little
forget,
awkward
how
at
did I forget
times.
this?
Here, let me look up what year that was.
I know he hosted the Emmys or something like that, but I didn't know he hosted the Oscars.
Every time we do like an Oscar story and I need a picture of the statue, like the ones that they actually set outside the thing, he has this poster. I always get it off. I always get PNGs off of it because it's in a white background and he's standing like this between two statues.
You know, it mustn't have been terrible because I remember like the James Franco, Anne Hathaway one.
Oh, that one's that.
That one was a
He
train.
did it in 2015.
2015, so it wasn't even that long ago. I don't know why it totally slipped my mind. But yeah, I always heard he did a great job doing the Tonys. Always heard he did a great job with that. All right, what's next?
Okay. Just Jay Newbie writes, did you guys check out the new episode of Futurama? It takes a fun stab at streaming. Loved it. Felt right at home again. Also, I'm going to see Barbie today with my bonus daughter. And Ray, I just ordered trench coat Barbie for you. You guys truly rock.
Is there really a thing as trench coat Barbie? If there is, I've got to buy one for Ray. I got to get that. I totally forgot. Mentioning trench coat Barbie. I totally forgot. What was the first part of his thing there?
He's going to go see Barbie with his
But
that was
the Futurama.
Futurama.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, no, and I'm not going to.
I thought the new episodes were coming out.
Yeah, they're out, but I'm not going to watch them. Futurama to me was extremely hit and miss, and it was more miss than hit for me. Like about every 4 episodes I would watch, one would be really great to me, and then 3 were and then one would be really like. South Park to me is kind of hit and miss too, but it's like 1-to-1, right? For every one bad one, there's one good one. I feel like with Futurama for me, for every like 3 boring ones, it's going. I mean, like for instance, Zap Brannigan is one of my favorite animated characters of all time. But yeah, so I just didn't really get all. There's trench coat Barbie.
Is that about right, Ray?
Is that about it? Yep, that was.
Why won't Ray talk to me?
That was Ray Day. Why won't Ray talk to me? Push her back, and that's what she says. Why won't Ray talk to me?
Hey, wait. I was gonna say. I'm going to see this Futurama episode because it has to do with streaming. I will watch it.
Well, let me know if it's any good. If it is good, maybe I'll check it out just for that.
I'll be like, you know what? It's so... And then just be like, you're going to have to watch it.
Yeah, make up your own mind. All right, what's next?
Be cool, Yolanda.
You be
What's
cool.
What's that from? Be cool, Yolanda. That's
Yolanda.
Come on.
What?
It's from Pulp Fiction.
No, that's South Park to me.
Be cool, Yolanda's from.
That's South Park to me.
It is.
No, it's the diner scene in Pulp Fiction. All right. Do you think the sound issues in Christopher Nolan movies, probably since The Dark Knight Rises, are due to his use of IMAX cams? They're very loud on set, so I imagine capturing clean audio and dialogue heavy scenes is tough and needs compressing. Thoughts?
No.
No, they do ADR. if they
Yeah,
had
no,
any.
100% no. And I listen, as much as I love Oppenheimer, and the audio was much better than it was in Tenet, I mean, it's still a little bit of a struggle. In parts, it's still a little bit of a struggle.
It was in the beginning for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not hearing some of this dialogue. Is this going to be throughout the whole thing? And then
That's because it was so loud, you
more.
went partially deaf for a little bit. You're like, I'm not getting everything here. It's like,
Oh, right. The beginning, the intro when it was like it's having
Still,
those
no,
flashbacks.
I don't know what it is. Christopher Nolan's one of the great directors of our age, and he has just not been able to figure out how to do good sound. Like, no, not even good, competent sound mix. I just like it's so bad that even when it's not terrible, I go, okay, great, it's not terrible, right? Like even in Oppenheimer, there were like I still walked out knowing and figuring out everything they said, but in some scenes it's a little bit more of a struggle than it should be. Let's just say that. All right, what's next?
okay, we got Broadway Geeky who writes, hey, gang, what's your favorite slapstick comedy? Mine is a tie between Blazing Saddles and Johnny Dangerously. I love both of those.
Oh God, Johnny Dangerously.
Is Balls of Fury slapstick comedy?
I think in a way it is, yeah.
What would you define? Because I've heard this term before, but I've never really.
I think like to the point that it doesn't even pretend that it's real. It's not grounded in reality, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I would consider Dumb and Dumber to be slapstick comedy because there's not two guys really like that.
Remember?
I'd say for me, in terms of like maybe Johnny Dangerously that age, I'd say Top Secret
Oh,
with Val
Latrine.
Kilmer, and then maybe 90s. The obvious one would be like what was it with Charlie Sheen?
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots. But actually, I leaned more towards Loaded Weapon.
Low Weapon was great.
Naked Gun.
For me, it's Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Spaceballs to me. That's
for the 80s, that era, that's one of the best.
yeah. I just love
Is there any
Spaceballs.
newer slapstick comedy?
Dude,
that you
it's
know?
gone to hell.
It's gone to hell?
Yeah. It's
It's like they don't know how to write it. It's
No.
just like another teen movie or the Titans or whatever it's called.
all right. Let's keep going. What's
Yeah,
next?
that was depressing. All right, Charles the mailman writes, the solution to end the strike is obvious. No, it's not. The use of AI should be banned for all actors, writers, directors, and below-the-line personnel, but required for all producers. Let humans worry about the art, AI worry about the money and logistics of filmmaking.
Yeah, that doesn't work
funny.
either.
That's actually kind of funny.
That doesn't work. I mean, look, and the reality is, while AI is an important issue, AI is an important issue. It is. But make no mistake about it. If writers and actors tonight with the AMPTP came to an agreement on residuals, they would all say, well, who cares about the AI issue? And again, I'm not saying the AI issue isn't important. It is important, but that's not the thing holding up a deal. The thing holding up the deal is the issue of residuals. That's the one that's holding up deals. And if they can get over that hurdle, all the other dominoes will fall easily. But yeah, it's the money stuff. All right, what's next?
Just through writes, follower since AMC days from Melbourne.
Thank you, man.
Not a huge fan of residuals. Oh, you'd love them if you got them. Feel it is like you deserve 50% tip for the service you already are getting paid for. Maybe increase the payment when no other industry gets it unless there is a patent for the product.
I am very unpopular amongst a number of people for my position on residuals. Look, at the bottom line is we're not talking about the top list, A-list actors who get paid $10, $15 million a movie. Okay, I'm not talking about these people. I'm talking about like your average working actor in Hollywood, like Chris Carr or others like that. They need to get paid more money. I don't know how I feel about residuals though, because I've said this before, I will say it again. I'm not sure why actors deserve residuals when other people don't. I'll just give you an example. I worked for a while in a restaurant, an Italian restaurant up in Canada, and we had somebody come in and made custom tables for the restaurant, right? By a small business owner, single guy, made these tables, brought them in, they're beautiful. Well, why doesn't that guy deserve to get 1% of all the business we do in the restaurant now? Because people are sitting at the tables that he made. People couldn't be eating in the restaurant if it wasn't for the tables he made. Does he deserve to get 1% of all business that those tables make? No. He agreed to do a job. He got paid to do that job. And then he went on and did another job. He didn't get residuals. The people who, built my house. If I do business in my house, do the people who build my house deserve to get a residual of my business? No. They got hired and paid to do a job. They did their job. And when they were no longer doing that job, I no longer had to give them money. So I'm not sure why actors should get more money for doing a job when nobody else does. I don't know anybody in any other profession that gets residuals. Outside of entertainment, I don't know anybody else who is a skilled worker, gets hired to apply their skills to do a job for somebody, and then just continues to get money. It just doesn't happen. So but I'm saying that as if I'm completely against residuals. I'm not. I'm just saying that whole concept of why are writers and actors better than everybody else, that when they apply their skills, they should continue to get paid for doing their job, even when they're not doing the job anymore. And everybody else in humanity doesn't. Like I still struggle with that. I still kind of wrestle with that a little bit. The thing though is that most actors get paid so little that residuals became the thing that made it livable. So if you're not going to give actors and writers residuals, then you damn well better revamp how you pay them up front, right? Now remember, we're not talking about points, right? Like Robert Downey Jr. famously in his contract negotiations with Marvel negotiated getting back-end points on the box office of Iron Man and Avengers and stuff like that, ended up getting paid $50 million for one movie. That's not residuals. That's something completely different. But I mean, like, if you're not going to give actors residuals and stuff like that, you've got to revisit and revamp significantly how much they get paid up front so they can actually live from doing their job. I just don't know that residuals are the way to do it. Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm not really sure. All right, what's next?
Bam Bam Bigelow writes, Variety reported ex-CNN boss Jeff Zucker was looking for financial backers so he can buy the brand. I'm not sure which brand. Given WBD is probably even more in the hole than it was thanks to many box office bombs and overzealous cuts to content, would Zaslav consider an offer?
First of all, WB did not lose any money
They're winning a lot of money right now.
from cutting content. They didn't lose a single they made money by cutting content. Maybe. I mean, I don't think CNN. Look, when Discovery bought Warner Brothers from AT&T, they didn't do it so they could get CNN, right? Let's that's not. It came as a part of the package, but that's not why they went after Warner Brothers. So I could completely see them selling off CNN. I think they probably wouldn't mind it with the right offer, so they can focus more on their core business. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. By the way, I just want to bring up here, B Webb in the live chat brought up something interesting. Said this, John, I design t-shirts and I get residuals on every sale. No, you don't. That's a misunderstanding of what a residual is. You may get a commission on every t-shirt, but a residual will be like, this is what a residual would be, B Webb. If I bought a t-shirt from you for $10 and then every month I still had to send you another $1. Every month from now until whenever, I have to send you another $1 for that t-shirt.
Well, every time you wore that t-shirt, you had to send
Every time I put on the t-shirt, I have to send you another $1. Even though I already bought the t-shirt from you, I got to keep giving you $1 every time I put it on. That would be a residual. You're talking about making a commission on the sale of the shirt.
Right.
That is not what residuals are. I think sometimes people jump into the debate about residuals, having a misunderstanding about which is understandable, completely understandable, because the two, one's pink and one's salmon. I mean, they look very, very similar. But yeah, one is not a residual. So you do not get residuals on a t-shirt you sell. All right, anyway, what's next?
All right. Amin writes, I saw Babylon on the plane last week, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. On one hand, I thought it was really good, especially the first half. But on the other hand, it got too messy by the end. Overall, still good in my opinion, but what did you think?
I wasn't big on it. I didn't think it was terrible. All right. I did not think it was awful. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I saw what they were going for. I didn't think the second half was all that worse from the first. A couple of really great scenes, some tremendous performances, all-star cast, yada, yada, yada. But I gotta tell you, director name, La La Land director, why am I free? And Whiplash director. Anyway, whatever his name is. I thought it was his worst movie.
Damien Chazelle.
Yeah, Damien Chazelle. I thought it was his worst movie. I did. But again, I didn't think it was terrible. I just thought it was his worst movie. All right, what's next?
Dangerous D, what do you think of Elon's idea of rebranding Twitter to X? There are a lot of problems with Twitter, and the name's not one of them. I'm not even on Twitter anymore.
Listen, I'm not on. I'm officially not on Twitter anymore. So, and listen, some people think, well, John, if you're not on Twitter, that means you don't like Elon Musk. I'm actually a big Elon Musk fan. And I know that pisses some people off, but I compartmentalize. There are many things about Elon Musk I'm a huge fan of. Like, I drive a couple of his cars. I think he makes the best cars in the world. He's one of the foremost, for the longest time, he's been one of the ahead of the pack in promoting environmental issues, sustainable, renewable energy, like all that kind of stuff. I just think there's a lot of ways that he's great. I really do. The way he's handled Twitter, from the way he tried to forcefully buy it, to then when he realized he had to buy it, try to weasel his way out of buying it, only then to have a court force him to go through and buy it, dismantling moderation teams, all that. It just, we just talked for a second about getting back to your core business, right? Twitter's not a business Elon Musk should be in. He should stay in the business of changing the world through his innovation and through transforming things to renewable exploration, all that kind of stuff. Social media is not a thing he should be involved in. He should get back to what he excels at, and that's just me. But so, yeah, you're right though. With all the problems that Twitter has, the name Twitter isn't that bad. Look, unless Elon Musk believes, and I'm not saying this is what I believe, unless Elon Musk believes that he has made the name Twitter so toxic that you have to change the branding. Because now that unless Elon believes that I have driven the name Twitter into the ground, therefore I need to change the name of it, then maybe. Otherwise, I don't see what he thinks changing the name to X is going to accomplish. But whatever. That's just me. All right, what's next?
Godzilla's podiatrist writes, not worried about making Gia overpowered. What really are the rules of superheroes? What really are the rules when superheroes start superheroing anyway? We get a great Super Skrull fight out of it. What bothered me more was, dramatic pause, how they glossed over the health of all those people kept prisoner in the memory pods for months, years, in the middle of a contaminated nuclear site. That was otherwise a major plot point. They skimmed right over it.
I thought that exact same thing as they were getting everybody out of the facility. It's like, wait a minute. So now, granted, it was Gaia who was faking it, but like Fury just walks onto the property and it's like, oh, your iodine pills, man. And the iodine pills don't cure you from radiation. They just fight off the symptoms. And he's like, oh, blah, blah. But they were standing there on the grounds, no problem. And listen, I'm sorry. I get the comic iteration idea of what Super Skrulls are, but what they did in this was so dumb. And I didn't even think the fight was that good, to be honest with you. And by the way, Gravik's got the healing properties of Hulk. Stabbing him through the stomach is not going to kill him. That ain't going to kill him. That's not going to kill him. That ain't going to kill Abomination. It's just not. So anyway, I had a lot of problems with the way they handled that final, which is too bad because up until the final episode, I liked the show. I didn't think it was great, but I liked it. And yeah, that episode was so bad. Anyway. All right. What's next?
All right. Anonymous writes, it's actually Tack who writes, watch TDK trilogy again and love Nolan's take on Bruce Wayne as the person and Batman as the mask. He longs for a normal life and family again, but his tragic duty keeps him from embracing his humanity like he truly desires. He deserved his happy ending.
I mean, listen, there is no denying. I mean, I'm not a big fan of The Dark Knight Rises. I like it. It's a good movie, but to me, it pales in comparison to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Still, I love Christopher Nolan's Batman. Love it, love it, love it. But to me, it will always be a mistake to ever try to do an iteration of the Batman where you don't have the understanding that Bruce Wayne died in that alley with his family and the Batman was born. And as brilliant and fantastic, Dark Knight to me is a top 3 comic book film of all time. But this notion that he just was always Bruce Wayne and then later thought, you know what? I should create this character that my enemies might fear. When in reality, for the Batman was born the night in that alley that Bruce Wayne's parents were shot. And Bruce Wayne was the facade. And that's what I really appreciated about, say, Ben Affleck's and Zack Snyder's iteration of Batman, was that core understanding was that when he's behind closed doors and no one's looking, he's Batman. When he's out in public, he's Bruce Wayne. And as much as you're never going to get a Batman movie that's as good as The Dark Knight, it's never going to happen. That is one thing. That's the one thing that I wish Christopher Nolan had handled a little bit differently. But that's just me. That's just my take on it. All right, what's next?
Okay, and then Tack writes, the comment about Bruce was in TDK trilogy was mine. I still think Batfleck is the best Batman Bruce Wayne overall, showing his aura of sadness and loss, but never forgetting he's a rich playboy superhero in the Justice League, so he's learning to deal with it.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Again, that was just a follow-up to the last one. All right, what's next?
Perplexed writes, this is our last of the tips. If you were in Disney's shoes, what would you do in regards to the Jonathan Major situation?
I mean, really, you're in a wait and see. Like the court cases, it's official. I mean, he's already done the preliminary stuff, but now the trial officially begins in the beginning of August. So you've got some time. Like if you're Disney, the one thing in your favor right now is that you do have some time, right? So Disney right now can afford to sit back and kind of wait and see. If the trial comes out that he did everything he was accused of and a whole bunch of more dark, awful stuff comes out during trial, then yeah, you part ways with him really quickly. If the trial goes through and you find out this dude is really a good guy who got in the middle of a bad situation and misrepresented what he did and all that kind of stuff, then you stick with him. But until you get more verified information, I think you take a wait and see sort of situation with him. All right, guys, listen. we're going to go over and start taking, and by the way, Ronaldo Lee just became a channel member, became one of our actor channel members. Thank you so much, Ronaldo. We're going to take a moment here before we get over to the live questions you guys have been sending in and thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Rocket Money and Mint Mobile. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. And for me, Rocket Money's been a godsend. I've told you the story before about how I found out that I was still paying a gym membership from when I was still living in Burbank, California 2 years ago. And just recently, I had completely forgotten that I was subscribed to multiple music services with different apps. Rocket Money identified the ones I wasn't using and helped me cancel my subscriptions super easy. And I'm not alone. Over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've completely forgotten about, and chances are you're one of them. Like that Stars app you use just to watch one show, or that free gaming trial that you never got around to canceling. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you, and for any that you don't want to pay for anymore, just hit cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorize your expenses, so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. So stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much-needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Rocket Money and Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys, let's get over to the live questions that those of you who are watching the show live as we're streaming it right now are sending in. Jonathan, what do we got?
Justin D writes, my dream collaboration is Nolan and Kogonada. Columbus after Yang, thought-provoking, subtle, intelligent. Of these, who would you have write and who directs?
Well, I think the style of movie that I prefer is Nolan's style. Really, but here's the thing with Christopher Nolan, he wants to be, and I prefer him directing movies that he writes. Right? That's really how Christopher Nolan likes to do it. He wants to write his own movies, which has kind of become apparent in the whole James Bond discussion that's come up. So it's not really one that could happen, but in theory, I would want Nolan directing. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got JW who writes, if they do Raimi Tobey Spider-Man 4, do you think they'll reference the events of No Way Home?
Well, number one, I don't think that movie's ever happening.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real thing. I don't think that's going to happen at all. If they did, probably, I could probably see them referencing it because they'd want to capitalize on the momentum. Like if they made the movie, and I don't think they are, but if they did, one of the whole reasons you're doing is to capitalize on the momentum of No Way Home. And so if you're going to do that, I think at bare minimum, they would at least reference it. Yes. But again, don't think that movie's happening. All right, what's next?
All right, Suthius, thoroughly enjoyed They Clone Tyrone. Interesting way of showing some social commentary. Boyega, Fox, and Paris are great together. Thumbs up Netflix.
It's quite good. I had a chance to see it a while ago. I won't mention how, but I had a chance to watch it a while ago. And it's creative. It's original. It feels low budget. I don't know how low budget it actually was, but it's a solid movie. And again, Boyega just showing why he's actually really quite a good actor. All right, what's next?
We've got Amin who writes, hope you enjoyed the game yesterday, even though it was against United's youth team. If you have time to go see Arsenal versus Barcelona at SoFi Stadium tonight.
Nah, no. Again, I'm not a soccer. I went because of Wrexham. Now, I've had all these crying Manchester U fans going, oh, is their B team? Is their B? Well, guess what? Like Wrexham, they lost their captain in the first 2 minutes, and in the second half, they just played all their second stringers. So no crying. But I'll tell you what, it was really fun. It was a fun event to be at. Ann and I drove down to San Diego to go see Wrexham play Man U, and it was a good time. It was a really, really good time and get to see some of these players, some of them that we would see on the TV show. We were like 20 feet from the coach. And it's like, I feel like we know the coaches because we watched them on Welcome to Wrexham so much, but it was a really good experience. But other than that, it still, unfortunately, has not turned me into a soccer fan. All right, what's next?
Azaz writes, as an Australian, I'm not into NFL, but the quarterback documentary on Netflix is excellent. I've now gained an interest in NFL. Mahomes is crazy good.
Mahomes.
Well, there you go.
Well, I mean, he'll never be Brady, but Mahomes is something scary special. He's real good. I have not watched this documentary, but everybody tells me it's really good. And I'm glad you've added your name to the list of the people recommending, because I do got to get around to sit down and watching this. Thanks for the input, man. All right, what's next?
Big cookie. Have you seen Blackberry? Currently holding a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, 163 reviews, 94% audience. I loved it. So funny and smart, and led by a Canadian director, actor duo.
Well, Blackberry's a Canadian company. Did you get around to watching it, Ray?
I'm waiting. It's still not on streaming. You have to pay for it still.
Oh, it's still only VOD.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was on a streaming service.
I looked for it that night. Someone mentioned it was on Hulu.
It is on Hulu?
No. Someone mentioned, remember, they were like, oh, Pinball's on Hulu and then Blackberry.
Oh, okay.
I assumed they meant Blackberry. I thought they meant Blackberry was on Hulu too.
Okay, but it's not. Okay. Yeah, I mean, everybody who has written in to talk about Blackberry has said it's great. Again, Canadian company, starring, made by some good Canadian kids. I want to support it, but I have not had a chance to watch it yet. But everybody says it's really great. You know, it's crazy thinking about how, like, today it's Samsung and iPhone, right? That's everybody got to say. But Blackberry was it, man. Like for a while, it was if you were on the edge, you had a Blackberry. And I remember when I first came to the US, the phone I brought with me to the US when I came down here was a Blackberry. And then I got my first iPhone when I was here. But I mean, that was the thing, man. Everybody had a Blackberry. All right, what's next?
Michael Jones writes, I missed one Monday and I was wrong. Second weekend of June 2015, Jurassic World made $106 million in its second weekend, and Inside Out debut with $90 million.
Yeah, so here's the thing. There was an article talking about how the Barbenheimer weekend was the first time ever that one movie had over $100 million and another movie had over $50 million. And I'm like, really? Wow, really? Okay, that's cool. That's no. What I found out later is that, in 2015, Jurassic in its second weekend made $106.5 million, I believe the number is. And on its second weekend, Inside Out opened, and it opened to $90 million. So I don't know if what they meant by the stat was that two movies opened where one made over 100 and one made over 50.
First week.
I can only assume that's what they meant by that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because afterwards I started, I had a few people mention some things to me and I looked into it. It's like, oh yeah, there was that weekend and there might have been others as well.
No, the key thing was the opening.
Right.
Part.
But still, even if they were technically wrong, how many weekends have had, whether it's an opening or not, have had a movie that made over 100 and another movie that made over 50? Very few. So even if that stat that they quoted last week wasn't true, in principle, it's still valid because there's not many weekends that have done that.
Man, and it's going to be crazy.
It's a special thing.
It's going to be crazy this weekend. It's going to be Oppenheimer over 50, Barbie over 50, then Turtles over 50.
Turtles isn't opening this weekend.
I mean, next weekend.
Next weekend. All right, what's next?
All right. Karoom Potts with a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Karam.
Yeah, thanks. My top 5 R-rated comedies are Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Black Dynamite, So Far So Good, Tropic Thunder, Girls Trip, The Hangover, honorable mention Joyride. Also, thank you guys for keeping me entertained. I might just switch out Girls Trip with Bridesmaids, but other than that, pretty solid.
Okay, that list is fantastic.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, Bridesmaids probably deserves to be on that list
Was
too.
Airplane rated R?
I can't remember for its era. I don't even remember what the ratings were in that era.
I'll have to look it up.
But for me, unless you can tell me it wasn't rated R, but I have a hard time believing it wasn't rated R. The greatest comedy of all time to me is 40-Year-Old Virgin. I think any list has got to have 40-Year-Old Virgin on it because that's my favorite but I don't know, maybe it wasn't rated R. I think it was rated R, but yes.
Oh, it was PG.
I mean, look, it had to be rated R. I mean, they talked about Pussalaya, right? So, yes.
Oh, yeah, Airplane's PG.
Airplane's PG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was no PG-13 at the time.
Right. But I think you got to have 40-Year-Old Virgin on there. All right, what's next?
All right. Victor Edbaum writes, can you see any scenario where George Lucas takes over Lucasfilm after Kathleen Kennedy on a temporary basis, similar to what Iger did for Chapek?
Fuck no.
No way.
No. Listen, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I will forever have some kind of shrine, as I do right now. I will always have some form of shrine in my home from now until forever to George Lucas. The creator of Star Wars, one of the biggest innovators, even in the technology of the filmmaking industry of all time. But it was time for him to go. And all due respect, because all film is subjective, everybody can have their own thoughts, and that's fine. We can have different opinions about movies. But to me, the prequels were total bags of dog shit. Star Wars had completely lost its way with the prequels. They were garbage. It was time for George to go. And he knew it. He knew it was time to move on. So they need somebody new, but it ain't going to be George Lucas. It shouldn't be George Lucas, and there's no way it would be George Lucas. The Iger Chapek thing is completely different. Iger left the company just because he wanted to retire, and he left when Disney was the king of the mountain. So for them to want to go back to them, but it's a completely different situation with George. And let the dude, listen, he's got stuff he's doing. Let him do that stuff and enjoy his retirement. But no, I don't see any possibility in any reality of George Lucas doing that. Not only because he shouldn't, but also because I don't think there's any reality in which he would want to do it, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Robert Giaquinta writes, shocked I haven't heard anyone bring up that Jurassic World made 106. Well, we just did.
We just did.
In its second domestic weekend, and Inside Out made 90 that same weekend. In regards to everyone talking about last weekend.
Yeah. So we just and you're right, and we just went over that a couple of minutes ago. So bang on. All right. What's next?
All right. John Redcorn looks like Haunted Mansion will pass Indy and Flash as the biggest bomb of summer, tracking at 25 to 30 opening on a $150 million budget. Bet it opens lower. Unless Blue Beetle goes lower than that.
I'm telling you what, 25 to 30, I think is optimistic. I think 25 to 30 million opening is optimistic. Unless it's able to capture like a family going thing. You know, a bunch of families go to Disneyland. They know the Haunted Mansion ride. Maybe families want to go see it. Look, for all we know, Ray, we're going to come out of this movie and you're going to say it's your favorite movie of the year. For all we know.
2003's made 100 and something million.
What has?
The Haunted Mansion. That made like 100.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, again, I love going to the movies, so I'm going to love going to go see this movie tonight. We'll see what we feel. We'll do an out-of-theater reaction tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to do an out-of-theater reaction, and we'll
Deaths.
Deaths. We'll see how it goes. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got Jedi Master. The only powers Gia was missing was from Morbius. No, they didn't give her the most powerful, which was Black Widow and Hawkeye.
And Hawkeye's powers. That's right. All right, what's next?
They just die right away.
Okay. Well, Jedi's back. In my head canon, 2 licensed psychological professionals broke out of Arkham Asylum and starred in 2 separate films in the Barbenheimer weekend.
Oh, that's right. Cillian Murphy is Scarecrow.
Quinn.
That's right. Actually, that's a good connection there. By the way, I've been seeing some more. I don't know if I should share this.
Yeah. Well.
So I got sent some new Joker 2 pictures, and they look really good. And I gotta tell you, I'm getting more excited about. Like I love the first Joker movie, but I was kind of like, It was intended to be a one and done movie. They should have just left it alone. But I get it when a movie makes $1 billion and gets nominated for Best Picture, you're going to do another one. I get it, but I didn't really think they should do it. But I just got to tell you, I'm starting to get pretty excited about it. So we'll see.
You should get excited about this. 46%, baby.
Haunted, boy, that's the old one.
Here we go. No, this is the new one.
Oh, is that the new one?
Yeah, 85 reviews, baby.
Actually, you know what? 46 is much higher than I was expecting. Because that's almost half. That means almost half the critics think it's okay.
How far in advance do you need to cancel? Can you cancel?
No, you're going to go, Ray. You're going
46%.
That's almost half the people like it. Almost half. So maybe you'll be part of that half.
Yeah, part of that half that walks out.
All right, what's next?
All right, we've got Banksplay71 who writes, man, Marvel's really not doing good at final episodes of Disney Plus shows, especially Secret Invasion. That was rough.
That was terrible.
So I'm going to say this.
What?
There's no chance we're doing a out of theater review now.
100%.
Come on, they're all here.
Even if it's bad, don't you have a rule? Like if we
No, absolutely. I've done many like out of theater.
Okay, then we should do it before we even see it.
No. That's what the people who are trying to review Barbie do. We're not going to do that.
I might like it, but.
All right, what's next?
All right. Victor Edbaum writes, more on the topic of Lucas. Will Disney still have full ownership of Star Wars once he passes? Or will the rights change somehow? Man, they bought
they belong to Disney. Yeah, it's not. It's the one thing that could change. Okay, the one thing that could change. Whenever, God forbid, hopefully it's a very, very long time away when George Lucas passes away, is that I believe that a lot of people ask, why don't they put out the original versions of Star Wars? Because it's only really special edition stuff that you can get. I believe that a provision was put in the sale that George Lucas said, I'll sell you Star Wars, but you've got to agree that my updated version of Star Wars is the version of Star Wars, and you're not going to release any of the older versions of Star Wars, period. Now, that could change. Once George Lucas passes away, his estate or his family may give Disney permission to do that, but that's really the only thing that can change. Disney owns Star Wars. It's theirs. It doesn't matter what Lucas family does. It belongs to them for now and for always until they decide to sell it. All right, what's next?
All right, just kidding. I skipped someone. King Daddy Goat writes, over under 50%, we get a Ted Lasso nod in Deadpool 3.
I don't see why.
Because, it's not. Oh. Well,
I mean, Ryan
because
owns
of
the soccer
Wrexham.
team, owns Wrexham, but there's no connection between Wrexham and Ted Lasso.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, they referenced Wrexham and Ted Lasso.
I remember you mentioned that.
Find that
That's
clip
right.
for you. But anyway, maybe that was the connection.
So, so I don't think that they will.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Victor Edbaum. Oh, wait, we just did that one. Alex Von Gollum writes, Ray, what if those Oppenheimer scenes Florence Pugh was wearing a trench coat? Just kidding. You're great.
Then he would have been totally turned off.
Ray. The trench coat was past her head. That roof would have came down.
It's Tiffany Trenchcoat.
Tiffany Trenchcoat.
Ray.
I'm here to solve crime.
And make out.
Why won't Ray talk to me? All right, what's next?
Alex Von Gollum is back.
Half the people watching the show have no idea what we're talking about, the trench coat thing, but whatever. All right, what's next?
Tiffany. Alex Von Gollum writes, about Secret Invasion, several characters kept saying Fury was a shadow of his former self at the end of the season. I'm still not clear if he was still at his prime or very rusty. What do you think?
I mean, look, he's older. Right? I mean, the series kind of mentions that too. He's getting old. I mean, he's still Nick Fury though. I mean, they kind of show that. Remember earlier in the season when he's sitting down in that restaurant alone with who you think is Rhodey, and the security guy goes to take Nick Fury away. Nick Fury, without even breaking shots, like whatever. He's still Nick Fury. I think he is. But remember, like the blip did affect him. The blip affected him. And that was a lot of years. And now he spent a lot of time in space. So yeah, I think there probably is something to say that he's probably lost a step, but he's still Nick Fury. I would compare it to say something like LeBron James, right? LeBron James has lost a step, but he is still LeBron James. So, I mean, that's how I would look at it. All right, what's next?
Right, we've got Spider-Verse 2, the top 10 greatest ever, writes underground scene, and it's really long because his name was long, so I have to do this. So underground scene, CM's cheekbones and crazed eyes look like the Grim Reaper. It was disturbing as hell. Was Oppie turning into death? Nolan's a master. So I guess he's talking about Cillian Murphy.
I think they did that to make him look more like the actual Robert J. Oppenheimer, because when I saw a couple places put up side-by-side pictures of the actual photos from an event and then how the scene was created with Cillian, and I think they did that to make him look more like Robert J. Oppenheimer. And actually, by the end of it, the likeness was, not that it's important, it wasn't important, but the likeness was striking. They really did make Cillian Murphy look a lot like the actual guy.
And there was really some telling things just by looking at his eyes in that film. Like what he was going through, or like, certain moments he would do something to open them real wide, and you'd be like, okay, I know how he's feeling.
Yeah, it's a sign of a really good actor that can use expression to tell the story. All right, what's next?
Wire Studios. So Thomas writes, Wire Studios such as A24, signatories to the Guild, but not represented by the AMPTP. They
don't have to be. They can choose to be represented by the AMPTP and become a part of the collective bargaining situation with them, but they don't have to be. So they choose not to be. They choose to opt for to operate more independently. So that's what they get to do. Unless there is power in collective bargaining. That's why the unions, that's why SAG exists. That's why the WGA exists. That's why the AMPTP exists, because when you are part of collective bargaining, you actually do exert more power. You have more influence. But there's also an argument to be made for maintaining your independence, which is what A24 has decided to do here. All right, what's next?
Raymond Verrata writes, will Hollywood forgive Kevin Spacey? I keep thinking about Mel Gibson and Armie Hammer, who have become pariahs after their troubles.
They're not apples to apples comparisons. I really don't. By the way, people throw out the term Hollywood, and I've done it too. We all do it, but sometimes we throw out this term Hollywood as if it's one organism, and it's really not. There is no Hollywood, right? I honestly don't know, because even though, look, you cannot be guilty of a crime but still be an asshole. And Robert Meyer Burnett has told stories about how Kevin Spacey, from his understanding, is very, very difficult to work with, and there are some people that didn't like working with him, and all this kind of stuff. So I honestly don't know. Again, we just got the news this morning about his getting acquitted, and that's, I mean, I'm happy for him, super, but I really don't know, because the audience, you and I, are part of Hollywood. So and if the audience doesn't want to welcome somebody back, then the studios aren't going to do it. And again, the issue is not, does Kevin Spacey deserve the opportunity to continue on his Hollywood career? The answer to that question is yes. In our society, he went to court twice, won both of his court cases. So the answer to that is yes. But that does not, let's say you're the head of a studio or you're a producer, that doesn't take away your right to decide who's going to represent your project in your movies that you got to put up hundreds of millions of dollars for. And I'm just saying that if I'm an exec and I've got a big role to fill in a movie, and I've got 10 great actors, and one of them is Kevin Spacey, am I going to go for one of the ones that bring no baggage and no issues to my movie? Or am I going to go with the actor who's going to bring along with them a lot of, whether it's fair or unfair, or am I going to pick the actors that's going to bring a lot of controversy and a lot of baggage and a lot of protest and a lot of whatever? I'm just saying, from a business perspective, I'm going to go with one of the other 9. And I say that not dishing any shade on Kevin Spacey at all. I'm just saying, from a business perspective, I'm going to go with one of the people. I'm going to go with an actor who's going to increase the potential that my movie is going to be a financial success. And I don't know that putting Kevin Spacey in it's going to do that. So that's why I would personally avoid him, not because he doesn't deserve it, but because, hey, these other actors are great too, and they're not going to bring along any baggage. So I don't know. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Emma Murdoch, who writes, came into my Oppenheimer 70mm showing 1 minute after showtime, but it already started. Lots of people came in 20 minutes late. No, it wasn't AMC. The only time I don't show up super early. Yeah, I guess the 70 millimeters they weren't doing. They should have put on the websites a warning, no trailers before film.
Yes. I mean, the reality is, in today's age, where so many movie theaters are fucking stupid and play 20, 30 minutes of trailers before a movie starts, which, by the way, if you're one of the theaters to do that, fucking shame on you. You're idiots. But that's part of the reality of it, right? So it's a guessing game about when you should show up to the theater. Now, we had heard prior to Oppenheimer opening that they may be doing that for 70 millimeter IMAX, that there weren't going to be any trailers, but a lot of people didn't hear it. So they show up thinking, hey, showtime 7. Well, in today's movie going world, that means 7:20, 7:25. We're okay to come in a bit late. And now you've missed a few minutes of the movie. You've missed a bunch of the movie. And the movie theaters have to get their heads, and I love movie theaters. They are temples. I love movie theaters. But they got to collectively get their heads out of their asses together. NATO, the organization that puts on CinemaCon, the North American Theater Owners, the National Association of Theater Owners are known as, have got to get together and come up with some fucking standards so that audiences can have some assurances of how they're going to have their best experience going to the movies. And if you don't know, if you want to avoid a half fucking hour of trailers, that you should go 25 minutes after showtime, or actually the movie starts right at 7. If you don't know, it's making the movie going experience for film fans a fucking nightmare. And you had a bunch of people trying to go see Oppenheimer, great movie, one of the best of the year. And they missed parts of it because the movie theater industry can't get their fucking act together. You know my opinion on this. If you tell me a goddamn movie starts at 6:30, it damn well better fucking start at 6:30. And if you're not, then get some consistency, because it's affecting paying customers' experience. And you're turning them off from wanting to come back. Anyway, all right. What's next?
King Daddy Goat writes, did anyone see any of the Congress UFO hearings? I feel like all these Congress hearings are UFO hearings.
But no, I did not. All right, what's next?
Brandon Peters writes, hey, John, did you see they moved Saw X to September 29th? You know what that means? The next movie event? Saw Patrol.
Saw Patrol!
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Saw Patrol!
Yeah, boy, that was pretty good.
Now you got 2 movies I'm not interested in opening up that weekend. No, I did not see that they moved the date for that. And you know what? I just said I'm not interested in it. I'd be curious to see if they can finally do something interesting with it. Because honestly, for me, the Saw franchise hasn't been interesting remotely since the first one. Like, I mean, I like the first one like everybody else does. But ever since the first one, yeah, I didn't mind the second one either, I'll be honest. But for the most part, this has all been garbage. So I'd be interested to see if they can get back and actually recapture something with that. But Saw Patrol, I like that. That's funny. All right, what's next?
All right. Jesse Roy writes, Barbie is projecting to make another 75 to 90 mil.
Which would be just stupid.
Just on the weekend, he's saying? So Friday,
Yeah,
Saturday,
second
Sunday?
weekend.
Man.
If a movie that opened to 155 can take less than a 50% drop in the second weekend, that's like, if it takes a 50% or less drop in the second weekend, I will change my tune about it not hitting $1 billion. All right, what's next?
Last one from Itzante, right? Oh, $20 super chat.
Thank you, Zante.
How do you feel about the Snyder Cut joke in the Barbie movie? I don't know why I was stuttering on that. My theater was rolling today with laughter.
I thought it was hilarious. And you know what's funny? I got to say this. When we saw Barbie, I mentioned I didn't say what the joke was. I mentioned there was a Snyder joke movie in it, right? And I said, oh, you're going to get some of these people are going to get their little knickers all stuffed up their little pucker holes. And I said, you know what? I think maybe the majority of Snyder Cut fans are going to take it as a good joke. I think they're going to take it as a funny joke and take it as humor and whatever. But you know what? I've actually heard from a bunch of people like who are Snyder Cut fans and said, fuck man, that was a funny joke. It was a joke and it was funny. I'm actually quite impressed by the way it's been handled because I thought there would be a number of them that would get all prissy about it. But no, like at least the majority of Snyder Cut fans I've heard from said, no, it was a joke and it was funny. You got to be able to laugh at yourself a little bit. And I'm really impressed by that. So I thought the joke was funny. I laughed a lot at it. So there's that. All right. With that down, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us here today. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the tip questions and the super chats, number one, because you give us fun, interesting things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved here with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Once again, reminder, keep your guys' eyes open. Set your clocks. Because tonight,
don't do that.
What you've been waiting for.
They're not.
Our Haunted Mansion Out of the Theater reaction with Ray Ora is coming out. So make sure you keep your eye on the YouTube
coming out
channel.
And meeting you afterwards.
Keep your eyes
for
open.
Dinner.
It's going to be great. Keep your guys' eyes open for it. And otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. So for Ray Ora,
yeah.
Jonathan Voico,
I'm not going.
John Campea. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.